Mad Scientist D here. So, I saw the new Evil Dead Burn. Uh, I didn't like it. I didn't like it. Like I'm a real fan of the Evil Dead franchise, especially since they renewed it a few years back, and Evil Dead Rise was like one of my favorite horror movies. And this one, I just didn't like it at all. Like it started off quite good. That is, they introduced the characters, the backstory, and this review will contain a few spoilers, but I'll try to keep it low. Yeah, so they introduced the characters, the backstory, and I was getting into the movie, and as soon as the Deadites appeared, I mean that's what they're called in the series. It was just constant violence, fight scene, violence, and there was no backstory, and I just kind of got bored. And the fight scenes, the violence wasn't really that entertaining. Like, I would like to see more backstory about the guy's the son. I can't remember what his name is. His granddad's involvement into the I'm gonna say cult, the cult that was investigating the Necronomicon and the book of the dead. I'd like to hear more about that. I don't even remember what the group's called because they barely mentioned it. They should have went into more detail about that and what the granddad was actually doing and what the group was actually doing, what they were investigating properly. Like in between the fight scenes. That they should have found some way to the attic and they should have went through his stuff properly in detail, and they should have used that to break up the violence, because it was just constant violence, and to me it was just boring. Like, part of the way through the movie it was just boring. There was just no story. It was just violence, and that was it. That was it. I suppose the good thing about it is that there will be a sequel, so we'll, we may get to see more about the lore and and the history and what the cult was called. Because I'd like to hear more about that. Because I remember in Evil Dead Rise, like they told us, we learned about the book and how when the family, I think it was the son, was going through the text and we heard about the law and the history, and I found it entertaining. I found it interesting. Like in between the violence, it broke up. The violence wasn't just constant, and I would have liked to see that in this film. Yeah, I was just disappointed, man. I had high hopes for that movie, really high hopes. But yeah, my review of it, in 2 out of 5. The French girl was nice. Yeah, her character was quite good. Um, it was funny, but one of the sons ran away. That was actually quite funny when his girl was getting attacked. That was quite funny. But yeah, I didn't enjoy it. But on to the next one in a few years' time, and on to the next horror movie. See you later, guys.